Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome indeed, yes, to another edition of the Mark Moses Show podcast. As we're always broadcasting from the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Take back control of your life. Call them today. Yes, it's Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Now, it is the day after St. Patrick's Day. I had a little too much fun running around, but I am here to talk basketball, as I know it's the eve of the NCAA tournament. And I was at the Magic game with this fine gentleman last night, legendary coach Billy Mims. Coach, how you doing today?
I'm a little tired, from last night, man, but you and I had a blast. It was first time I've seen Shai Gilgeous-Alexander play live in person. So thank you for that. I enjoyed the trip over to Orlando and watching the reigning NBA champions and fist bumping with Mark Daigneault, the reigning NBA champion head coach.
You're absolutely right. There's this moment. So we're at post game. SGA's talking. And I turned to you, and it must have been about 10:20 p.m. at night. And I turned to you, well, now we got to drive back to Melbourne. Like, that's literally, which is going to take us to get to your house about 45 minutes or so. That's the worst part. I was like, why can't we live 5 minutes from the arena? That would have been great. But look, you can't win all the battles. All right, let's start with this. Forget about who won the game. No. I have known you for a long time. You love the Joker. Anyone who's followed this show knows Coach Mims loves the Joker. He loves Luka Doncic. He loves these Euro guys. I wanted you to see personally. I wanted you to see SGA. I wanted you to. He is the MVP, Finals MVP. He is a stone cold killer with the ball in his hands. He scored 40 points last night. What was your evaluation after seeing him play in person?
Well, the biggest thing I remember about last night was everything you said is correct. Everything you just said about him is absolutely correct. But you left out one very important factor.
What?
He's also a stone cold fashion icon.
Oh, you loved the okay. Jeff Carr, the athletic director at Eastern Florida, he texted me, he goes, man, because he's also Canadian. So Jeff takes great pride in this. He's like, oh, man, look at those Matrix sunglasses. Like, he's dude, I thought those sunglasses he was wearing, those supposed to be $10,000. Those glass, I don't know. I mean, he's got the bling on, the watch, the necklace, right?
And he was all dressed in white. When he walked in to the press conference, to the press room, post game after he'd showered, changed, cleaned up, got his cologne on, got his bling on, got his shades on. He walked in all in white, and as he strode down through the press to get to the podium and the mic, it was like an angel had entered the room.
Okay. All right.
Hey, seriously, was there not an aura about SGA? And then when you and I walked outside, right? There were 500 people standing where the bus pulls out just to wave at him on the bus.
I'm happy you brought that up. The only time where it was overwhelming, I think when LeBron James, I was at a game when the Lakers showed up. And when he walked in to the post-game news conference, when the door opened up, it was like the Beatles were there. And everyone's screaming, LeBron! It's Steph Curry as well, but when LeBron, that was kind of the feeling. There isn't that yet with SGA. I don't know if it'll ever get to that, but I'm happy you brought that up. He came in. Oh, you know what? I apologize. We were going to leave. Remember? Because we're like, what? We're waiting for players, and that happens. So I'm like, all right, we got to go. We're hitting the watch. We got to go. So you're like, hey, we'll go to the bathroom real quick. We go to the bathroom. While we're getting out of the bathroom, SGA walks by us in the aura, the bling. Okay, well, and the PR guy, we'll get to him in a second. He's like, hey. He's like, look, yeah. In case we don't know who SGA is, he's like, hey, here he is. We're like, okay. So we're literally walking with the MVP into the press. Like, we're in his entourage.
Yes, we're in the entourage.
And SGA starts talking, and he's a nice guy. And then he starts going into these like I got to be like Kobe Bryant now. I have to be poetic with everything I say. Like, and he's starting to get that aura around him. Yeah. And then you're right. When we left, Yeah, those fans. If they saw what we were going through, their heads would have exploded.
Oh my goodness.
If they went through that.
If we were walking like 2 feet behind him,
Mm-hmm.
if they had been where we were, they would have got down on their knees and crawled 2 feet behind. Yeah, I've seen SGA many, many times on television, post-game interviews. And as we were joking that, usually you see him with his entourage, all the other players, his teammates, standing around behind him, because I think that's an OKC thing. It's part of their culture that even though he was the best player in the league last year and won the league MVP, the finals MVP, they still have that team culture. They believe that everybody's a part of the success of the OKC Thunder. So I know that was normally what you see, right? But I wanted to see him on his own, fielding questions, not eye to eye with one reporter, but with several people in a room, and see how he responded. I was very, very impressed last night. I thought, as you said, he was Kobe-esque in his moment of thinking his thoughts really through, trying to come out with the most intelligent answers he could. And he does come across as an extremely intelligent, caring young man. He doesn't want to just be snippet. He doesn't want to just say things off the cusp. I think he wants to say the right thing and make sure that when he gives an answer from the heart, that people are reading, that it's coming across, that it's something he's serious about. He meant it. It did come from his heart, and it was his actual thoughts, not something he's repeating from somebody else. I was very, very impressed with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander last night for a few minutes in that post-game press conference, in how he handled himself, his demeanor, his thought process, his articulate, intelligent answers. Very, very impressed. And I can see why the rest of his teammates look at him as the leader of that team.
All right, a couple things. That's a great point. Remember, he played for Calipari. It's like he was a one of these prospects, right?
Yes, and remember, you and I said last night, we were joking about it during the game. I told you about the video they shot at the airport in Oklahoma when they were boarding their private jet. And they were asking all the players their picks for March Madness. When they got to SGA, he picked 2 teams. He said, well, it's going to be Arkansas or Kentucky. And for a moment, that didn't register with me. And then all of a sudden, it did. He played at Kentucky. But why did he say Arkansas? Oh, his coach, Calipari, is now the Arkansas coach. So he's either picking his old team or his old coach. Either way, he was loyal. Another impressive thing.
He wasn't like, oh, I'm the next phenom. I'm amazing. He got to the NBA and then had to work on his game. And then look, the Clippers threw him away. Here, go ahead, because they wanted Paul George. He was part. It wasn't a 1-to-1 trade. He was part of the package of picks. So the Clippers did not think highly of him. And he went to the Thunder. Even in the Thunder, it took him time to get. So you could tell there's a part of him where it's like, hey, maybe he has a chip on his shoulder, or, kind of this blue collar feel of, hey, I had to work to get to this point. I'm not just the chosen one. And that came across as well. All right. I want your thoughts on the eye test. And I'm going to say this first, then I'll give you the floor. What's weird about him is he plays below the rim. It's like he's a 34-year-old Michael Jordan, or kind of like in his 30s Kobe. He's not running around dunking on people. And it's not like Anthony Edwards, where he's explosive and dangerous and he could just all of a sudden explode, dunk on 5 guys. He's not doing. He's picking his spots. And I told you this during the game and I loved your evaluation where, all right, I'm going to get 5 here. I'm going to get 7 here. Then I'm just going to let, Chet Holmgren get his, Jay Williams get his. And then I'm going to take over. That's the Michael Jordan type thing. He scored 40 last night. He could have had 55 easily if he wanted to go completely Bam Adebayo. That's what was amazing about him. I want you to go over what you said, where the layups, the 15-footers, what did you see from him as a scorer here in the NBA?
Well, obviously we saw a superstar, okay, in all aspects. But what I love about this young man, and you made a great point a moment ago, he's a bit Michael Jordan-esque, right? And Michael Jordan used to say a lot of times, I don't have to worry about getting mine in the first quarter. I don't have to show up and have 20 in the first quarter. I'll get mine. What I like to do early is distribute the basketball, get other people involved, get my guys going, get their confidence up. I'll get mine. It'll come to me. I'll get mine whenever I get mine. And in a sense, Shai's like that too. He's not a selfish basketball player at all, right? The other thing that stood out to me, another comparison to a current player, and it's a guy that I do like, we both like, and we think he's a great player, but Luka Doncic, right? SGA, you talked about him a moment ago, not being a guy like Anthony Edwards, that SGA is explosive, right? Jordan was explosive. SGA's explosive, but it's not like Anthony Edwards explosive, where he makes highlight reel plays where he just out of nowhere explodes up and over three guys and dunks. I think he's more like the new great player like Luka Doncic, in that SGA has found a pace. He plays the game. He understands the pace of the game. Luka can look like he can't jump over a quarter.
Yeah.
Luka can look like the slowest mule in the stable. He's not a thoroughbred speed-wise, right? But it's the pace that he's so good at. Well, okay, Shai could be that thoroughbred speed-wise. Shai could jump over a stack of quarters about a mile high, right? But he doesn't have to do that, because I think he's matured intellectually. His basketball IQ, he understands the pace of the game. The other thing about him is, although he's not somebody you think of as being a great three-point shooter, he picks his spots and he takes great threes. He doesn't take bad shots from three, right? He picks his spots. But the beauty of his game is not what he does behind the arc when he knocks down the occasional three. It's how good he is downhill, right? I think the most dangerous thing about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is when he's going downhill and gets what we like to call paint touches. When he gets into the paint, he is going to get a 15-foot mid-range jump shot. He's going to get to the rim and get a layup, and he will snake his way through traffic like Michael Jordan did, like Kobe Bryant did in their prime. He could snake his way through anybody. He doesn't have to jump over them. He finds a way through them. Or he's going to draw a foul. He's going to get contact and go to the free throw line. So in the paint, he might be the best player in the game. That is the best.
I'm sorry I cut you off.
No, it's quite.
He's like James Harden, where if I have an open window to get to the rim, I'm beating you. You could be the best defender in the world. I'm getting to the rim and I'm getting the foul call.
Well,
and we know it.
Yes. And you and I made another comparison last night. We were talking about how well protected he gets. And we said that lovingly and jokingly. I didn't say that as a nasty thing, but we compared him to LeBron James, because in the height of LeBron's career, sorry, I'm going to make sure this call doesn't come through. Don't they know I'm on the Mark Moses show right now? They got to stop that, okay? In the height of LeBron's career, right, he was going to the line, double-digit free throws every night, right? In the height of Kobe's career, he could get to the line, double-digit free throws every night. I think players don't understand this, and yet the greatest players always did, right? You don't just get to be a big-time scorer by making buckets, right? The best scorers, the leading scorers in professional basketball throughout history have been guys that can make a bucket, but they can draw contact and get to the line and shoot a bucket. So a 20-point-a-game scorer can become a 30-point-a-game scorer easily if he's getting fouled and getting to the free throw line and makes free throws. Shai plays through contact. He gets the call. He gets the line. He makes free throws. Downhill and in the paint, he's dang. What did I say to you last night? I would pack the paint on him. I would let him shoot the three. He's going to make some. He's not a bad shooter. He's going to make some. But I think he is so much more dangerous because getting into the paint, he creates so much more for his team. Not just on what he gets, but the fear of him getting into the paint does collapse defenses and leaves his teammates open a lot longer than they should be. So when he gets those paint touches, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the best there is right now.
Say something to you. He is an elite scorer, an elite all-time scorer. He sets the tone for that organization. That's why he's an MVP. He is, because I don't know where they are without him. Like, they're probably a playoff team playing, but like he takes them to the next level. He does. Right. And they got a great team. They're loaded with great players on that team. But the Joker, he does more. He is a unicorn because look, Shai got his 40, but what do you have? 3 assists, 2 rebounds. The Joker's like, it's like, what the hell is this? I mean, because it's like, oh, what'd you have? Well, he had 34, then he had 12 rebounds, he had 15 assists, and like it's like, oh, Jamal Murray's not good tonight. Whatever. I'll pick up the pace. He's a better Joker is better. He is.
You know what's incredible? With all the points you just made there too. I was looking at the stat sheet, and Shai took more free throws last night than anybody in the game. Again, and people have to understand that's not a knock on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right? No. It's his style of play. He's always attacking the basket, and young players should understand. You stand out and shoot jump shots all day long. One, it's a tougher shot to make. It's farther away, right? I mean, the best three-point shooters on the planet only make 4 out of 10. They miss 6 out of 10, right? Like baseball, great hitters. If you're batting 300, if you're only getting a hit 3 out of 10 times at bat, you're a great hitter. Yeah. But 7 times you fail. If you're a great three-point shooter, you're still going to fail 60% of the time, right? Great players understand that. Shai gets it. So therefore, he's attacking the basket, taking higher percentage shots, getting into traffic, drawing fouls, shooting free throws. Now you got a 15-foot constant that never changes and no one's guarding you. That's where his offensive production skyrockets, right? So he shoots 11 free throws. He goes 9 of 11 from the line. He was 3 of 5 from behind the arc. We talk about him and his team. They don't take as many threes as most teams do because they're very selective in the threes they take. And he had 5 rebounds and 2 assists. So overall, it looks like 40 points. He had a great game, right? The most interesting stat of all, when you look at his plus minus, when he was on the floor, and he was on the floor for 35 minutes of the game, 35 minutes, 37 seconds. His TER, his team efficiency rating, his plus minus efficiency was a -4. While he was on the floor, the Orlando Magic were better than OKC. That is one of the things. Now, take the flip side of that. Who was the best TER on their team? Alex Caruso, Mr. Shoe.
Your
Mr.
boy.
Shoe.
Your boy.
Alex Caruso made meme history last night playing defense with his shoe. First shot block you and I have ever seen with a shoe in our career, right? But he had a plus 19. When Alex Caruso was on the floor last night, the OKC Thunder were 19 points better than the Orlando Magic. Now that just floors you, doesn't it? He comes on the floor for 23 minutes, 42 seconds, and his team is 19 points better than the opponent.
He's a stud. He's Alex Caruso. All right, I want to bring up this with you real quick. So it was funny. I get home, and NBA Twitter, a bunch of people are like, oh, man, Paolo had 32 again. He had 32. What a game for Paolo. And look, through 3 quarters, Paolo did have a great game. He had 28. He did nothing in the fourth quarter. Well, heck, half the time he's on the bench, and then he had the 4 points in garbage time. Dude, this is the difference. Paolo, he's almost there. He had a great game, but when it's money time, I got to get more. There had to be more in that fourth quarter, Coach.
Well, and I agree with you, but you know what's funny too? You look at Paolo was the leader. He had 32 points, But when you look at it as a coach, you got to feel pretty good about the Magic. When you look at their numbers, then you start asking yourself, why didn't we win the game? Our best player had 32 points and 10 rebounds, right? Paolo was 12 for 21. He didn't turn the ball over last night as much as normal. He only had 4 turnovers for the game, only 4. But they had 6 players, Mark, 6 players in double-figure scoring. On the other hand, OKC win the game. Their best player has 40. Their second best player, Chet Holmgren, has 20. They only have one more guy. A.J. Mitchell has 16, right? They had 3 players in double-figure scoring and double-digit scoring. When you look at that, you start to say, why didn't we win the game? But I can tell you, if you look a little closer at those stats, I'll tell you why they lost the game. They took 53s in the game. They were 17 for 50. Now, that sounds okay because that was 34% behind the arc, which isn't great. It's not horrendous. It's just mediocre, right? But it's hard to win games when you shoot. The Magic took 93 shots last night overall, 50 of them from behind. They took more threes than twos. And I'm telling you, I know that the world has gone 3-point crazy, but you're not going to consistently win. OKC doesn't play like that, and they were the NBA champions a year ago, and right now they have the best record in the NBA. So probably at the moment, they're arguably still the best basketball team on the planet. They don't take, more threes than twos because you're taking all those threes. That doesn't get you to the free throw line. SGA got to the paint. They shot 27 free throws. The Magic took 53s. They shoot 20 free throws. That was the difference in the basketball game.
All right. I'm going to go Zen like Kobe. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. Okay. Here's the difference. The Magic are a team that doesn't know how to win consistently. There's peaks and valleys. There's ups and downs. Hey, a 7-0 run. This is great. How do we sustain it? I don't know. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Oklahoma City understands the secret of winning. They broke through. They won. All great teams do this. They are calm as water. Everything is like this. Oh, we're down 5. Whatever. We'll get some buckets. They believe in it. Hey, that's fine. Hey, we heard this from the coach last night. Hey, we were down the third quarter, called timeout. All right, let's go on a run. We know how to. That's what makes it dangerous. Once you figure out how to do it, then you can go do it. You've been a coach a long time. You've coached at different levels. You've had good teams. You've had bad teams. You know this personally. When you got a team that wins a title, they come back. All right, we know what to do. Don't you feel that as well when you see a great team?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one of the best teams I ever coached in 1997 was in London, England. And our team were the double win. There are 4 championship trophies that you could win there: the league, the cup, the trophy, and the playoffs. There are 4 trophies to win. And we won 2 of the 4 and lost the 4th one, the 3rd of the 4th on a last-second shot, okay? We were very, very good. And our moniker that year was the comeback kids. We were the comeback kids. We had more comebacks from third quarter deficits to win fourth quarters in big games than any team in the history of the league there. We were the comeback kids. And I think that is a championship mantra. It's a championship mentality. When you watched OKC, they're champions. Orlando are not yet. Every time they take a timeout and walk to the bench, OKC, they look like scoreboards. Who cares? We're going to win the game. It ain't over yet. The old "it ain't over till it's over" mantra. Well, that's OKC right now. It ain't over till it's over. As long as there's time left on that clock, they believe they're going to win the game. And last night, again, they got down. They didn't panic. They stay within their system. They do what they believe in. Their coach does. I tell you, Mark Dagenham, one thing I like about him, he's not emotional on the sideline at all. I've never seen. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Brad Stevens when Brad was in his heyday with the Boston Celtics. Brad is like a college professor on the sidelines. He's like playing for a professor who's just teaching, constantly teaching. He knows the material. He's teaching his kids the material. It looks like that's what Mark Dagenham's doing. Mark knows the material. He knows what he wants. He knows his players. He knows what they're capable of. He's constantly teaching. He never loses control. I've never seen him get angry at the refs. I've never seen him get angry at a player. His emotions are under control all the time. And that sort of emotional stability and intelligence takes a young team. Because remember, last year when the Thunder won the NBA championship, they also had the youngest starting five in the league overall. So what makes a young team that good? I think it goes top down that they have a young coach who's teaching them sort of almost like Pat Riley Zen, or I say Pat Riley.
Phil Jackson.
Let's go Phil Jackson. That's what I'm going to say. I think Pat Riley had it first in Miami, but then I think Phil Jackson perfected it in LA. But they both were great coaches, great players. But that sort of mentality that you just don't, you never lose sight of the moment. You never get so emotional that you lose sight of the moment and the ultimate goal. Mark Daigneault is one of the best young coaches in the world right now because I think he's got that Zen mentality as well.
And he won the title. And honestly, hey, we're flying to Orlando. We're going to beat the Magic. We're going to get another plane. We're going to go to New York and kick the crap out of the Brooklyn Nets. That's what they're thinking. That's what great teams do. I will say this. After everything we've just said, hey, woulda, coulda, shoulda. If the Magic had Franz Wagner and Anthony Black, I think they win the game last night. You know what I mean? So
I agree. I said that to you at one point. I said, I thought another big difference in the game was personnel. And it's like, okay, you had Paolo picking up 32. You had SGA getting 40. Well, there's right there. That's almost, Xing each other out. What the Magic missed, and I said this to you, I said, all they were lacking was one more superstar. And hey, he's in plain clothes on the bench right now, Franz Wagner. And from my opinion, I mean, Paolo's a great player. I like Paolo. He's a great player. He has certain things that he can do as well as anybody. But I believe the best overall talent the Orlando Magic has is Franz Wagner. So he can do so many things. And right now they're really missing a lot of the things that are his mainstay, the things that he does really well. Also, you made a great point in Anthony Black, who has really stepped up this year. He's out with injury. Franz is out with injury. That is two of Orlando's top 7 players, any way you shake it. Probably those two are starting if they're full strength and healthy, right? And if not, certainly Franz is, and AB might be the first guy off the bench. But those two guys played 30 minutes last night, and I agree with you. The Magic win that game.
Yeah, so the key is, look, just get them back on ASAP, and there's still time with about 16 games to go. All right, let's go over this real quick. We got about 10 minutes, and I appreciate coming on. I know you're a busy man, so yes. I want to give you your flowers. You have consistently, if we're looking at March Madness, you have been hyping that Arkansas guard. Now, even when I was on here saying how great the Gators are, and they destroyed Arkansas, you go, I don't care. There is that guard on Arkansas, and you've been going over and over. And now all these other people oh yeah, by the way, that guy's pretty good. You have been consistently. I just take it away. What are your thoughts, buddy? Just go for it.
Well, I have some friends in the NBA. I've coached against 2 current NBA head coaches multiple times. So even when I was a pro coach in Europe, I had an NBA mentality for talent and for the way the game should be played. I love college basketball. Don't get me wrong. But the NBA is the best basketball on the planet, right? And the Euro League is right behind that.
Yeah.
NBA maybe for overall talent, Euro League for overall how to play the game, right? Those guys in basketball intelligence, IQ-wise, Euro League coaches and top Euro League players, some of the smartest basketball talent on the planet. NBA, great coaches, great talent, the most talented league on the planet. So when I'm watching players now in college, I'm thinking about, well, what's their next stage? It's one thing to be a great college player. You hate to see those guys that make a career playing in front of sold-out arenas and they're washed up 3 years later, right? You want to see the best players in college basketball go on, or college football, go on to NFL or NBA or EuroLeague, where pro careers and play in front of big audiences the rest of their life. So I look for that kind of what I call a franchise player. And I know everybody started off the season talking about Cameron Boozer. Everybody talked about A.J. DeBonsa. There's still two big names in play, right? Predicted to be two of the top 5 draft picks. And there's a slew of good freshman talent in college basketball this year. But this guy, Darius Acuff Jr., he's from Detroit, Michigan. He played high school basketball at the same school one of my former players played. Demario Robinson played for me from Detroit and became an assistant coach of me. And I know he's worked out and trained Darius Acuff Jr. So I have a little inside information there too. But when I first saw Darius, I'm like, the word on the street was talent, over the top, right? But maybe a little immature. Maybe needs to learn to be more coachable. And John Calipari, the older coach, not a young coach, the old experienced coach who has coached more great guards in college that have gone on to great NBA careers, probably than any other single collegiate coach. He has a slew. I mean, like you said,
SGA.
Come on. He has a slew, right? That you, if you're a player, especially a guard, now he's had some good bigs, don't get me wrong. But if you're a guard and John Calipari says, I want you to play for me, you say, how quickly can I get there? Because he can build you in. He can take talent and turn it, grow it, mature it into NBA mentality, right? And I say this, I've watched this kid get better and better and better all season. I saw him at Alabama lose a game late in the season, right? That went into overtime. And this kid just took over the game. He deserved to get a win on his own, right? 49 points that night, right? Unbelievable game. And just, again, put himself this year in the Arkansas all-time record books. I think he's right now second for most points in a single season, only by about 30 points. A guy named Todd Day did it back in the 90s, right? And he's the all-time leading Razorback scorer. Darius Acuff, as long as he doesn't get hurt, hopefully nobody does in March Madness, so teams can continue and players continue right through. If he doesn't get hurt and he plays right through this tournament, he's going to become the all-time leading scorer in Arkansas history. Let's go with Zach Lace. I said this early on. Everybody said, oh, he's going to be the rookie of the year. I said, yeah. He's also going to be the player of the year. Oh, no, Florida's got a guy that's better than him. Oh, no, this guy's better. No. The guy led the league in scoring and assists. Hasn't been done since Pistol Pete Maravich. And the last time somebody did that, they named an arena after him. The Pistol Pete Maravich Athletic Center, PBAC at LSU, right? So not only does he do that, he's the player of the year. He's the rookie of the year. He led the league in scoring. He led the league in assists. And if people just look at his scoring numbers, they're nuts. I love watching his assists. The dimes he's throwing. Can you imagine him throwing those in the NBA to even better guys than he's throwing them to now? His court vision, his read of the game and the situation is off the charts in the SEC tournament, in which he led his team to the SEC tournament championship. Last year's SEC tournament champions went on to be the NCAA champions, Florida Gators, right? Yeah. He led his team to the tournament championship. He was the tournament most valuable player. And let's see, what did he score in those games? Oh, he started off with 37, 5 and 5. Then he had an off night. He needed some help from Malik Thomas. Malik Thomas scored 29 points, and they beat a really rolling Ole Miss team. Malik Thomas, because they have also the best backcourt in America, not the best player in America. They have the best backcourt in America. 2 freshmen, right? Malik Thomas scores 29 points in that Ole Miss win. And an off night for DA was 24 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists on an off night. Then what does he do? In the championship game against a Vanderbilt team that just beat Florida, who just embarrassed Arkansas in Gainesville a few weeks ago. They got their revenge, not against Florida, but they beat the Vandy team solidly that knocked off the Florida team. And what does he do in that game? 30 points, 3 rebounds, 11 assists, and he hits a shot in that game. If you remember, it's viral now. It's a meme of it as well. But this guy is falling out of bounds. He sees a play in front of him that's just didn't develop. And as he's going, you can see him actually frustrated that the play didn't develop that he wanted to make. He's falling out of bounds, shot clock expired, first thinking of making the pass that he was anticipating making. And now he's catching a bad pass and he's falling out of bounds. He's into the team bench, a hand in his face, body at body, and he makes the shot, right? And that was an NBA play. He is a franchise player in the NBA. I know there's great talk about A.J. DeBonsa, who is a great player, right? A.J. reminds me a lot of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, all right? But as you said a moment ago, Shai's great and an NBA MVP, okay? But Shai doesn't do everything better than everybody, right? Okay? Jokic does everything better than everybody. Well, when I look at this kid, Darius Acuff Jr., in college right now, he's doing everything better than everybody. He makes threes. He can get in the paint and score. He can draw fouls. He can play through contact and score through people. He can score at the rim. He can score from three. He's one of the best passers in the nation. You know, his turnover to assist ratio is 3-point-something to 1. One of the best in the country for players who play as many minutes as he does.
Love it.
And then somebody came back to me the other day and said, I got a response on Twitter at the X that, oh, yeah, coach, does it all? He doesn't play defense. I was laughing my butt off. I didn't respond, okay? It didn't warrant a response. But no. I've watched this guy one-on-one guard the best player on other teams and take it and say, I'm going to lock down. And I'll tell you the last thing. Yeah. The last thing, his maturity. I mentioned that if there was one knock against him coming into college, it was little bit, not a lot, not much, a lot, not a problem child, okay? Just a little immature and maybe just needs to be a little more coachable and grow and take that veteran coaching to be better, right? He's done that this year, a prime example in that tournament. There was an out-of-bounds play, and he was asked this by Alyssa Lang after the game. There was an out-of-bounds play, and it was a timeout. They went to the huddle. And he said in the huddle, she goes, well, God, that out-of-bounds play was amazing. Was that the way it was drawn up? That was what's supposed to happen? And first thing he said was, no. He said, I was supposed to take the ball out of bounds. But in the huddle, Coach Cal said, no, Darius, you're not taking the ball out of bounds. You're here. Malik, you take the ball out of bounds. Darius, you're here. And what happened from that? From that one little situation, Darius Acuff now is not inbounding the ball. He's the go-to guy on the inbounds. He comes off a second screen, curls to the midpoint, short corner baseline, just enough space, inbounds the ball to him. He catches it, goes up, and puts a dagger in the back for a shot that basically was the game-winning shot. That is coachable again. That is listening to the veteran. John Calipari's coached great players, but John Calipari's made a lot of great decisions that have helped those great players make plays to win games. This kid, in my opinion, my humble opinion, I love A.J. DeBonsa. He's going to be a great player. But if I've got the number one pick in the NBA draft and I need a floor leader, a team leader, a strong NBA-ready body who's got all the skill sets necessary to be a great player, to be a franchise player, and I want a floor leader, floor general, point guard, playmaker, scorer, I'm taking number one, Darius Acuff Jr.
What a recommendation. What a seal of approval. That was a best man speech right there. Here, I know we're running out of time. All right. Here's the descriptions I'm getting from him. People are yelling, he's like Iverson, maybe Baron Davis, Steve Francis, Ja Morant. Hey, I got no problem with that. Maybe he's better than all of them. All right, here's what I think. He'll be the first pick to the Brooklyn Nets. Then the second pick will be AJ, who plays for BYU, right? So right. He'll stay there. They'll put him on the Utah Jazz, right? And then That's
the only reason he went to BYU.
Yeah.
The Jazz have been living with him every day.
Yeah, he'll take a pay cut to play for Utah. That's what's going to happen now. And then 3, Boozer to my Bulls. And you know what? It's a loaded draft. Hey, if you need to tank, start taking, baby. This is the one to get into. All right. This is what's going to be fun. All right. Here's what we should do. All right. You're going to be watching the tournament for the next 4 straight days. Okay. Nonstop.
Where am I going to be? You know that, right?
You're going to be.
My wife said something to me. I told you this last night, so I have to kind of end with this joke.
Yeah.
My wife, we've been together for over 30 years, right? She should know me, Mark. Okay.
I hope.
And she says to me yesterday at one point before I went out with you, she said, you need a new suit for our daughter's wedding. Why don't we go over to Orlando and shop for suits on Saturday? And I said, shop for suits on Saturday? I said, Lynn, March Madness. I said, I'm going to tell you right now, don't ask me for anything. Thursday from about 10 a.m. Thursday till about 2 a.m. Sunday night, I'm going to be in front of a television, either on my couch, in my recliner, or sitting at a restaurant or a bar with 14 screens in front of me. I will not be anywhere other than watching March Madness nonstop 4 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It is the best 4 days for a basketball junkie on the planet. You know where I'll be.
She should bring like a cardboard cutout of you, and then they'll put the suit on the cart. You know what I mean? With your same dimensions. Yeah, that'll work. Let's go with that. That's what it should be right there. I'll end with this real quick. So we're going into the Magic Arena like I've done a billion times. So it was St. Patrick's Day yesterday, and I forgot that I still had on a jacket I was wearing. It was cold. So we're walking by the Thunder locker room, and this guy goes, hey, you. Hey. And I was like, what's going on? Hey, you. Do you like the Bears? I was like, yeah. Why wouldn't I? It was one of these moments like, am I in the Illuminati? Am I in some secret fraternity? And this guy's like, oh, man, you like the Bears? I'm from Illinois as well. What do you think about the team? Are we going to move to Indiana? He starts talking to me like I work for the Bears. Like I'm a PR. What is happening now? And the look on your face, you're like, huh? What is this exactly? So I forgot I still had my Bears jacket on. I've been wearing it all day. It was freezing. Usually, you shouldn't be wearing any teams on your, you know what I mean? But I just forgot. Okay. So this guy.
It worked for you.
Yeah. So he's like, yeah, we need to do this more often. Right. So he's like, I'm from Illinois. I love the Bears. I was like, well, I'm from Illinois. I love the Bears. So now we're buddies. He's like, what do you think? Are we going to move to Indiana? Like, we're really talking about this. He really wants my opinion. I'm telling you, we're in some secret society here. This is like in front of Coach Mims, it's like we were both talking Russian, and Coach doesn't know what we're talking about.
I'm jealous. I felt left out. I'm like,
I know.
I want to say, how do I join this club?
Yeah, you got some work to do. So I was like, what do you do? He's like, well, I'm the head PR guy for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Okay. So we're talking. He's like, yeah, nicest guy. And then we're like, where's the post game? He's like, yeah. You two need to come to the post game for the Thunder. So we're like, okay. So we sit down. He's like, hey, great seeing you guys. And then like you asked the question to Coach, which was awesome. And then Coach comes up, dabs us, right? And then he's like, yeah. And then this guy, he's like, yeah, I hope that helped. And then again, I'll just say this again. So like, we're going to leave. We go in the bathroom. We get out. Shay's right there. Shay looks at us. And then our PR guy's like, yeah, it's Shay. Yeah. Like, okay. So this guy, nice guy. Okay.
Mark, it all began with the brotherhood of the Bears, right? It started with the brotherhood of the Bears, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for that, right? Because that just opened the gates for us. But how can it get any better for two basketball guys like you and I, right?
Yeah.
To end the night, we were in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's entourage. We were walking in with his bodyguards, with the head of PR. We're right behind Shai and his entourage, walking in with Shai. We walked into the press conference with SGA, right?
And I like
and we got dapped, we got fist bumped by Mark Daigneault, the reigning NBA champion head coach. Nobody else in the press conference got fist bumped but me and Mark Moses. So it can't get any better than that.
And Shai's leaving. We're like, hey, good game, Shai. And he's like, yeah. And then he just goes right back to his phone. That's the best part. It's the best. Like, yeah, whatever. I'm the MVP. So, no, he's a nice guy. Coach Mims. All right. How about come on Monday? We'll recap the first 4 days. Have a great day, buddy.
Look forward to it, Mark.